Assalamu alaikum, hey, and welcome to the Muslim Life Coach Institute podcast. This is Abdul, Shahid, master coach, trainer, and therapist, and this is where I help you to coach yourself and your clients on how to overcome anxiety, fear, and all of the emotional baggage that keeps so many of us stuck in our minds, our lives, and our relationships. Assalamu alaikum, hey guys, welcome back to this week's segment where I want to share with you some gems about how to fail in order to win. And this is going to apply to you if you are someone who feels like, you want to quit, you want to just give up on yourself, or you want to give up on what, the things that you've tried to achieve in your life because you're going through a hard time and, things are really difficult and you just want to give up. Or sometimes you want to win, but you don't want to experience all of the discomfort that comes in that journey. So let me just like jump straight in, and I really want you to think about this, allow it to simmer in your mind for a little while, and hear what I'm saying. Failing is the biggest obstacle that we have. It is not the results, right? Most people, when they're thinking about failing, they feel like their results are that they failed. It's like exams, right? But here's the thing, after the exams, life just carries on, right? Life doesn't stop when you finish your exams. The exams are just a part of the journey. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you to think about life as being this big, huge test. Like, this is what we, I get it. I understand theologically, this is what we're taught, that, life is a test and all the rest of that. But I want you just to understand that, when you're going through your day-to-day life, you don't have to apply that to everything in your life. So here's what I want you to, I want to repeat that. Failing is the biggest obstacle that we have. It is not the result that we have, right? It's the obstacle that keeps us from achieving the lives that we want to create, right? Whatever you want to create, we often think that, we failed and that's the result. And actually that's not how it is. And if you stay with me a little, you can understand what I'm talking about. Now, the thing is, most of the time when you're thinking about failing, or when you're thinking about quitting, when you're thinking about giving up on yourself or giving up on something in your life that you're driving towards, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's your projects, the things that you're setting out to do, maybe it's your work, whatever it is, right? When you're thinking about giving up, that giving up is very, very often like you feel like you're at the end of the road. But the reality is that you're not at the end of the road. You're actually just en route, right? And it is an obstacle that you're having to face. But when you tell yourself, and this is why people feel as though they failed, when you tell yourself that you cannot possibly do this, you can't possibly make it work, you just can't, or you don't have the ability. And in my coaching, when I'm coaching my clients, when I'm training my coaches and therapists, as they go through that journey, they all experience this. As I go through my journey of life, I experience this over and over again. And that's what I want you to understand. And that's really a really key distinction. Failing is not the result. It is the obstacle en route to your results, right? That means that you can have lots of it. That means that you're going to have lots of it, and that also means that it's actually totally normal. But here's what happens: we have these experiences where we feel like we failed at trying to do something, or we're failing at doing something, and in the process, we just want to give up. We just want to quit. We just want to give up that emotional experience that we're feeling in the moment. And that's really what's happening. You see, what's really happening is that as you're going through the motions and you're telling yourself that, you know, you're failing this, it's not working, you can't do it, you don't have what it takes, you know, you're not good enough. like when you tell yourself all of these things, and no one says these things out loud, right? Well, not many people. Like we think it without even realizing what we're doing. And as we're doing that, we get into this emotional pain, right? And it feels like a struggle, right? It feels like a struggle. And that there is the obstacle. Like you feel like it's failing. You feel like it's not happening. You feel like you should give up on yourself, that you should give up on other people. You should give up on life, on really creating an amazing life. You should give up on it because maybe you weren't destined for it. But to be quite frank with you, that's just like nonsense thoughts that we've got rolling around in our minds. Maybe it's waswas, maybe it's just your own negative thinking, maybe it's just things that you've picked up from hearing other people, right? It does not matter. The bottom line is that, let's go back to the truth. The ultimate truth is that failing is just an obstacle en route to the results, right? And that means that you're going to get the results if you keep going despite what you call a failure, despite what you call, it not happening, despite what you call, I'm not good enough, right? I don't have what it takes. Like, or, my circumstances don't allow, everyone else has got it easy and I've got it really hard. Like, listen, I get it. Like I coach my clients through these struggles all the time. But I want you to understand that the feeling of failing, the experience of, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to be able to do this, and all of those things, it is internally generated, and it's really that feeling that you're experiencing. It is just the obstacle itself. That is the obstacle. And so what you've got to do is you've got to empty. And this is what you got to do. You've got to really focus on emptying your mind. This is what I train all of the people that go through the Nafs transformation program, is about emptying your mind of all of the stuff that's actually creating that feeling of being stuck, that feeling of, stagnation, the feeling of, I'm going to fail, I can't do this. All of those things that are happening inside of you, like in order to get past it, you've got to empty your mind. You've got to empty your mind. You see, listen, no one fails if they are willing to believe. You know what that means? That means you will not fail if you're willing to believe. It's your willingness to believe that will raise you above your obstacle. It will raise you and take you beyond any obstacle that you perceive. It's your willingness to believe that makes it possible, right? It's your willingness to believe that almost takes you across the impossible, like what you believe is impossible. Because in that moment, if you are willing to actually believe in the possibility of this, it means that you actually get past that, that life suck of an obstacle. Like, I get it. It drains the energy out of you. But if you are willing to empty your mind, if you are willing to just focus in on, believing that you can actually get beyond this, then you can actually get beyond it. Sounds crazy simple, right? And I know, like many of you listening to this are coaches and therapists, and many of you aren't. Probably the majority of you aren't. I want you to understand that you can totally turn things around. But to turn it around, you absolutely have to be willing. You have to be willing to believe in the possibility of this. And if you do that, then you can make it work. You can make it work. And here's the thing about this. Like, failing is the obstacle. And, much of the time what happens when that feeling of failure is coming, the feeling of wanting to quit, wanting to give up on yourself, like, is if you can't make it work instantly, you want to give up on yourself. Like, that's what people do, right? If you can't get it instantly, it's that microwave lifestyle, right? But if you try to do everything perfectly, you're also going to want to give up. You see, that's one of the main reasons that people struggle with this, because they go through their life and they want to do it perfectly. They got to do it perfectly. It's got to be the best that they can produce in their lives. And if it isn't that way, then, It means it sucks. It means it's rubbish. It means, you're no good. It means that it proves to you that, the thoughts that you have about yourself, which is that you're not good enough. And here's the thing. Let's go back. Let's keep it simple. Empty your mind of all of the nonsense that's standing in your way. And if you will believe in the possibility of making it happen, then you will overcome any failure, any obstacle. And I say this because, listen, alhamdulillah, like a good couple of thousand people went through the 5-day training that I just completed. Like earlier this month, I did a 5-day training. If you weren't in it, alhamdulillah. But that 5-day training, it was amazing. It helps us to reconnect spiritually, understand psychologically, and actually learn some of the most, important steps in creating amazing relationships with yourself, with your creator, with your loved ones, right? And in that, we're talking about like creating like, mind health and wealth. Now, many of you, you get to the end and you might be thinking, oh, that's it. It's just 5 days. It's over. That was a bit of a nice ride, a bit of a nice high for a little while. And then I can just go back to just giving up, quitting. And I want to tell you that you shouldn't do that. These podcasts, like I am teaching you through this, the very foundation of what we do in the science of the nafs. Like, this is, listen, this is the human science, right? This is the human science. Like, this is how we've been created. So if you just take this stuff and apply it, and you're willing to believe, the willingness to believe is such a key component. If you're willing to believe, like, you will get over any failure, and you never have to quit on yourself or anything in your life. Like, failing is just a part of it. It's a part of the journey. So, this is why I say, failing to win. In order for you to win is the end result. But it's not the result that you get right at the end of the road. Win is all the way there if you're willing to fail. If you're willing to fail, you're going to win all the way there. You're going to overcome every obstacle. And if you can't get over it right away, but you're willing to persist in that, and you're willing to do it imperfectly, and get that, you've got to do it imperfectly. If you're willing to do it imperfectly, if you're willing to just, not do it, 100%, but show up and do it anyway, and you're willing to mess it up, and you're cool with that, then you will get the win. Like, the failing is just an obstacle en route. I want you to understand. And it will change your life if you are willing to step up and step into that. And here's the thing. Here's what I want to. I said this to one of my coaches the other day. I was about to say one of my trainees, but she's not. She's no longer a trainee. Like, one of my certified coaches. I said to her, she's presenting to. She was coaching a group of people, and it was a significant event, and she was getting a little stressed about wanting to really have an impact on their lives, and that's the best thing about this profession. Like, we do it because we want to help to impact the world, to change lives, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with how we spent our time. Right, and it was a noble cause that she was working on. Anyway, like, she's getting all up in her head, and I said, I gave her one piece of advice. I said to her, listen, you need to have fun. Choose to have fun in that process, and it will change your whole experience, and it will change the experience of everyone there. Everyone will love it, right? And guess what? Everyone loved it because she's amazing, and she delivered like an amazing experience. And everyone loved it. They had fun. It was experience. It was, mental health, mental wealth. Like, it was really like, it was the fruits of a choice. The obstacle is the fear. The obstacle is the failing, or the fear of failing. Like, but that's just en route. You gotta expect that. You can't expect to go through life without having any possible failures. Failure is a part of the journey. You got to fail to win. It's a key component of this journey. This is what I teach my students in the Nafs transformation program. This is what we teach in the science of the Nafs. And you got to fail to win. It's a part of the human condition, the human journey. You do not have to be perfect. Choose fun, choose enjoyment, and choose to be okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to be imperfect as a human being, because that's how you've been perfectly created. I hope it makes sense. And if you want to grow, you've got to take this concept that I'm teaching you here, and you've got to implement that into your life, and it will transform your life, inshallah. Okay, folks. So inshallah, if that makes sense, go do it. Go do it. Jazakumullah khair. Hey, if you're ready to actually take the steps to transform your life, I want to invite you to join me on the Nafs Life Transformation Coaching Program, where I help you to take the steps to making the transformation of your mind, your relationships, and your life. Just go over to themuslimlifecoach.org/live. That's the THE muslimlifecoach.org/live.